QAnon. Who's that dude?
Okay. Yeah, all right. So here's the thing. QAnon could be anybody. And it could be
all
1,000 people, 1,000,000 people. I could be QAnon today. You could be QAnon today. Anyone could be QAnon. Basically, around the fourth quarter of last year, these cryptic messages that the people who are in this conspiracy now call breadcrumbs were being left on 4chan. And basically, this guy who we now know as QAnon, who again could be one person or 100 million people, will leave these breadcrumbs, and all these people who believe in this conspiracy now will parse these breadcrumbs and try to figure out what the secret message is in these breadcrumbs. And this all stems from this pretty much. Do you remember back in October of 2017 when Trump was having this meeting with a bunch of military people, and the press were there, and Trump said, "This feels like the calm before the storm"?
Yes, I do remember that. They were all standing up, and it was like some type of but I feel like there were wives there too, maybe. Or I can't remember. But yes, I do remember.
I could have been making a marriage joke. I could have been threatening global annihilation. You don't know. And that's what's great about it.
So basically, the calm before the storm is what made all these conspiracy theorists think that it's all related. And Donald Trump was actually giving us a secret message that we don't know what's going on right now, but anytime we hear of something in the world that happened, Donald Trump had something to do with it. Anytime you hear about a Donald Trump failure, we're meant to hear about that failure because it covers what really happened, which was Donald Trump ordering some sort of takeout on some terrible person or uncovering some sort of pedophile ring. Basically, Donald Trump is responsible for anything that they like in the world and any bad guy being taken out. And this QAnon guy, they believe, is either a member of the Trump administration or Donald Trump himself leaving messages to these hardcore Trump fans about what's coming next.
No, he's not.
Wait. Excuse me. I'm on Reddit right now.
I'm on Reddit
right
now.
Just everybody back off. I got to go into my extra. So wait a second. So
Opie's a total loser. He's never been as good as Anthony. That's number one.
So basically what
number
you're telling me
two, pedophile ring.
QAnon is the modern day version of Paul McCartney is dead. And we're just like seeing, like, there's just everybody sort of crowdsourcing, pushing this. I mean, does everybody know what I'm talking about with the Paul McCartney is dead thing?
No.
Oh, okay. So during, what was it, like 1972 or something, there was I Am the Walrus, whatever. I think it was like in Sgt. Pepper's. There were all these subtle supposed hints that Paul McCartney had died in a car accident, and there was a fake Paul McCartney that had taken his place.
Oh, okay. I have heard of this.
And there were all sorts of like hints. And this is sort of sounds like it's like one of those jobbies. And people are just sort of crowdsourcing, pretending to be QAnon to leave these breadcrumbs that ultimately add up to Donald Trump being essentially Bourne, right? Jason Bourne.
Yeah, I mean, yes, pretty much. That's a great way to put it. You know, they're able to turn because they're so vague, these breadcrumbs, and there's so many of them, because again, anyone could be writing them. For example, in one of these posts, QAnon references a sky fortress, and they turned it into, later on when there was a fire in Trump Tower, that must have been the sky fortress he was telling us about. Trump Tower is going to be on fire.
There we go.
He told us in advance. That's how we know.
So it's
So anyone can log in as QAnon? I'm still a little confused.
Yeah, here's the thing. Unlike 4chan, you don't have to create you don't create a username or a profile. You just go on the board, an image board, and you just leave whatever. So this QAnon guy, who they basically call QAnon, he could be anybody. Anyone could post one of these breadcrumbs and just sign QAnon.
Okay, well, I think got some afternoon plans ahead for all of us.
I feel like this is dovetailing. Go ahead. I was going to say, I feel like this is dovetailing with the conversation we just had with Michael Shore. Like, how do we put this into some type of sales funnel and make some cash off this?
Well, people like, Mike Cernovich have done that. I mean, for example, like all the major Pizzagate names are behind this. Like all the guys who helped prop up Pizzagate are behind this. Liz Crokin, who was a mainstream journalist, who is easily like one of the crazier of these conspiracy theorists now. She's the one who claims that Sean Hannity is actually in on all this, and he wants to talk about all this on the air, but he's got to play it safe. And, Sean Hannity didn't really do himself any favors when he talked about Seth Rich and all this stuff. So maybe she's right. Maybe she's not a conspiracy theorist.
I think Sean is too dumb to use the computer, but definitely wants to talk about it on air. But do you think though, Matt? Like, I mean, when I studied in Turkey, I remember there really was like, especially at that time, there literally was sort of what they say is happening now. There actually was like a coup and counter coup between the government and I guess what you could call the deep state there, essentially the military. And what somebody said to me once was that in Turkey, so many people think in terms of conspiracy theories that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like there actually are a ton of conspiracies happening in this political culture, because even when none were happening, other people were like anticipating things from other people and making them up and then actually creating the thing itself. And do you think like now that all of these people have gone from like, I don't know, like something crazy on 4chan is influencing policy, so now like the thing that you and I are joking about a couple of weeks ago probably is like actually a real thing in some form within a couple of weeks?
Yeah, because, okay, for example, take the memo release today. The same guys promoting Pizzagate who moved on to QAnon are now rolling the memo into QAnon. And that's why QAnon is sort of taking off and people are calling it the next Pizzagate. Because unlike Pizzagate, where it was a set thing, the very sensical belief that there is a underground pedophile ring happening in a pizza place in Washington, D.C. That was a very specific thing that, once that dies down, where else can you take it? Whereas this QAnon thing is anything can be part of this conspiracy because anything can wrap up into it. Anyone could leave this breadcrumb that basically states some sort of vague, poetic-looking like line-structured thing that he leaves, and people will parse this as, oh, it must mean this when this thing happens. Like, they'll look back and say, oh, that must have been what he was talking about. And the thing is, like, there's, like, the shelf life on this could keep going.
Right.
The memo is that... Yeah, like the memo, for example, like in your previous interview when you were talking to your guest, he was talking about how the big story of this is just going to be that there is no story. But I actually think that if QAnon and these conspiracy theorists continue to run with it, then they will parse this memo and make shit up, just like they did with Pizzagate. And then the things they made up are going to be what people start to believe. Wow. Like, there was a significant amount of people who, believed that there was a pedophile ring going on at this pizza place and still do.